Hello, everyone, and happy Monday. Well, we bring a very sensitive and much needed topic today for breast cancer survivors. They kind of hormone fluctuations that they are going through. How does it impact their perimenopause? Are they going through perimenopause or menopause? How does all this thing happen? So to talk about this, we have Dr. Grigel. She is herself a breast cancer survivor, and she's also a naturopathic doctor with over 20 plus years of experience focusing on women's health. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, so much. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me on. Yep, I'm Dr. Kaycie Grigel. I'm so happy to be here with you. And I'm actually going to share my screen here so everyone can see the slides I'm going to talk through today.
Yeah, this looks good.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to talk about hormone health for survivors. And this is a topic that I know well. This is me. I'm Dr. Kaycie Grigel. My patients call me Dr. Kaycie. I've been in practice for a long time, and I've had a focus on women's hormones. And as well, I am a survivor, so I understand what it's like to go through this process, both during treatment and what happens as you move forward. So we're going to talk a little bit today just about what happens to your hormones during breast cancer treatment, and then what are our goals moving forward to help you get back into balance. So if you have breast cancer, your treatment is likely to impact your hormones for a few reasons. So about 80% of breast cancer are hormone receptor positive, estrogen positive, and about 65% are progesterone positive. And, for women with a cancer that has not spread, the 5-year survival rate is over 98%. Awesome. And even if it has spread, that survival rate is still over 90% with our current sort of conventional treatment. And so that's awesome. And we're so happy for that. And so if you have a hormone positive cancer, your treatment plan will likely target that hormone because we want to have less stimulation to the tumor. And so while you go through this and your estrogen levels decrease, and incidentally, even if you do not have a hormone positive cancer, your treatment will likely impact your hormones, and we'll talk about why in just a second. But my goal is to help you still feel well during these changes that are going to take place for you. So what does estrogen do? Just like a basic refresher. So in this context, we're less concerned with your actual reproduction, although some of my patients do still want to have children after their treatment. So that certainly is important. But in general, what does estrogen do that's going to be impacted by your cancer treatment? One is your reproductive system. So your vaginal elasticity and health. Your lubrication is going to change, or that's what your estrogen is, responsible for. Estrogen is related to your libido, so sexual health is important. And of course, cycles are sort of regulated by estrogen and progesterone. One thing that's really important that I always try to remember with my patients is bone health, because estrogen is really important for helping to deliver calcium to your bones. And it improves the mineralization of your bones. So estrogen is really important for healthy bones in the long term and preventing osteoporosis. And then finally, your overall vitality is really significantly impacted by estrogen levels. Your energy is important. It tends to help you feel more energetic. Emotionally, it tends to help you feel more up and more stable. And then it also, just like incidentally, I just threw in that it also improves our good cholesterol. So it's important also for our cardiovascular health. So how does cancer treatment affect estrogen? You've got a few different ways that this treatment may impact your hormones. So if you have an estrogen positive cancer, the goal of treatment of a hormone positive cancer is to reduce those estrogen levels. So, if you're going through chemotherapy, then that often will damage your ovaries enough to just start menopause right away. When I went through treatment, I had chemotherapy. I had one cycle and that was it. And a lot of women tell me the same thing about their treatment. Once you finish your primary set of therapies, whether you're going through surgery or radiation or chemotherapy, whatever sort of order that happens in for you, most women are going to be offered some type of estrogen modifying treatment. Tamoxifen is the one we hear about the most, and tamoxifen is what we call a selective estrogen receptor blocker. So what that means specifically in the breast and the reproductive tract, tamoxifen is going to block estrogen from going into the cells and making things grow. The other option for a lot of women is an aromatase inhibitor. And what that does is once you have gone through menopause, you may, you probably will not have anything coming from your ovaries. And so your adrenal glands will be making a hormone that's called DHEA. And there is an enzyme called aromatase that takes DHEA and turns it into estrogen. Now, an aromatase inhibitor, so if you're taking something like Arimidex or Letrozole, it blocks that conversion of DHEA to estrogen. And I just like to note the difference between the tamoxifen and the aromatase inhibitors, because tamoxifen, because it's selective, it's only going to impact the breast and the reproductive tract. But an aromatase inhibitor is just going to block all of your estrogen production. And so that's going to also impact your bones. So aromatase inhibitors are much harder on bone health. I just like my patients to know that. So once we know what's going on with your, once you know that what type of treatment you're going to have, sometimes it's hard to understand whether a symptom you're having is actually related to your hormones or your treatment. So I'd like you to understand that it's not just going to be hot flashes and night sweats, although that certainly may be a major part. And as you know, hot flashes and night sweats can range from annoying to completely life-altering. And so it's important for us to be able to really address that. But also on top of that, one of the things that I really see with a lot of women is anxiety and that sort of brain, hamster wheel brain, that you're thinking about things so much and it's really, really upsetting. And so anxiety, those repetitive thoughts, and even depression can be related while you're taking these different hormone modifiers to estrogen changes. You also may have heart palpitations. Your libido can go down or just be gone. And along with the lubrication can be problematic. And also I hear a lot of insomnia. Insomnia is a big piece. And then it also can potentially impact your digestion, your weight. It kind of can be your whole self that can be problematic. So in addition to estrogen, I also like to note, because when I talk about hormones with my patients and with my students, I really like to talk about your hormones as being like a symphony. So it's not just one hormone that's going to make things feel out of balance for you. All of your hormones have to work together. And so it might not just be estrogen and progesterone. Your cancer treatment may also impact your adrenal health because, one, breast cancer is stressful. It is a hard thing to go through. It's emotionally challenging. It is physically challenging. And so your adrenals can really be impacted by that. In addition, the dexamethasone given to most women when they go through chemotherapy can be really problematic because that dexamethasone is basically an analog to your cortisol. And so that can really mess with how your adrenals are functioning and the way that your brain communicates with your adrenals. Chemotherapy also can be very challenging for your thyroid health. It can really be impacted by those chemo drugs. And then the stress also can be problematic for the thyroid. So I always like to make sure that you're getting your thyroid measured as well. And then just the brain center is really important for that overall sort of conducting of the symphony. So if you're had a lot of stress and your nervous system is feeling really frayed, that can really impact the way that all of your hormones are working together. So when we support you holistically, I have 3 primary goals. First, I want to manage your menopausal symptoms, and I want to do it in a way that's safe, because we don't want your estrogen levels to go up, but we have some good natural tools that can help you help your body to feel as if that estrogen level has increased and improve your overall symptoms. I want to make sure that your mood is healthy and happy, and we want to help with anxiety and depression and sleep. If you are not sleeping, then nothing else is going to work right. Sleep is so critical. So if we can get you sleeping, then a lot of times, a lot of the other issues are going to ease. And then finally, we want to retune what we call the hormone symphony. So we want to also support your thyroid hormones, your adrenal hormones, and the reproductive hormones as well. We want to get all of those pieces working together. So I just, but I don't want to get too into specifics in terms of what I use, because it's pretty individual. However, I just wanted to give you an example of one of the things that I like to use. And one of the allies that I really like is called black cohosh, which you may have heard of. And there's some really good studies out there about black cohosh and safety in breast cancer survivors. And they show, it has been shown to improve hot flashes and night sweats, insomnia, and anxiety in breast cancer survivors around 35 to 52. So that sort of premenopausal time where you may have gone through menopause early. And this is even in women who are also taking tamoxifen at the same time. So we love that we have that, that sort of synergy there. And black cohosh also increases survival overall in women who do and do not take tamoxifen. So this is one of my favorite allies that I like to use with some of my patients. And I do use a lot of different natural options, but I just wanted to give you guys just like one little taste of some of the stuff that I work with. And that's all I have for you today. This is my information. My business is called Thriving Survivors, and I'm at thriving-survivors.com. And you can see me on Instagram or Facebook at Breast Thrivers. And feel free to contact me. I'd love to hear from you and, answer any questions that you may have.
All right, Paul, thank you so much. This is supposed to be a quick 10-minute session and not a medical advice. Like you said, generally women who are going through chemotherapy or who are breast cancer survivors, they need to educate themselves what's going on in their body. And as we want to also emphasize the fact that each person is individually different, and everything, all the holistic therapies that we talk about might not work for you versus the other person, could be completely different, right? I just wanted to mention that. Anything else you want to add before I wrap up? Like I said, this is a quick 5 to 10 minute session we bring on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, I just really want, obviously check with your team, your oncology team, if you have questions, and to make sure that they feel comfortable with whatever you are embarking upon in terms of natural therapies. But I just want you to know that there are things that are out there that are safe, that can really be helpful to help you feel better in the long term.
Absolutely. And that's why we are advocating holistic therapies should be the first go-to choice for most of the people. And if that doesn't help, of course, we are not saying don't take medication, but give holistic therapies a go, because there are so many things that are available in today's day and age with the research, validation of the research. I just wanted to add that. With that, thank you so much. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Grigel, for joining me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.